Oh, so much better video quality. Oy. Oh, sign up for this one. Good morning, everyone. I mean, no one, because no one's here. It's Sunday, right? Yeah. Okay. Cheers. Whammo! Good morning, everyone. Oh. This is Ashy Larry. He was the star of the first installment of Morelia Mondays, if any of y'all caught that. That segment actually was what gave me the idea to finally name him Ashy Larry. He was one of my remaining unnamed animals, but he's kind of got this ashy, smoky black look. So, everybody, Ashy Larry. He's one of those Papuan animals that I love so fondly. Good morning. Happy Sunday. What's up? Dude. Oh, man. So before we get rocking into things, good morning, Jeff. I actually have a list of things I need to talk about. But yeah, dude, those are nice stimmies, man. They look good. They're looking good, man. I wish you best of luck on that. If y'all wouldn't mind hanging tight for 1 second, what I'm going to do is I need to make an announcement for the Southeast Carpet Fest. If I can find it, I would like to read it word for word. Oh, man. There it is. Okay. So, if any of y'all are not aware, this year the Southeast Carpet Fest is really stepping it up. So, normally normally all the carpet fests we get together and we donate money. We raise money for USARK through the auctions, things like that, and all of the chapters can basically operate independently. But what the folks down in Florida, Ian Bissell and everybody who's working with him coordinating that, they are doing something a little bit different this year. So last year they were able to raise over $12,000 for USARK, and this year they're still gonna do donations to USARK via the T-shirts that they sell. But this year, the main fundraiser that they're going to be donating to is going towards nidovirus research. They're going to help fund research at University of Georgia Infectious Disease Laboratory, Colorado State University Stangline Laboratory, Utah State Virology Laboratory, and the University of Florida Virology Laboratory, in hopes to learn more information about the virus, to create effective quarantine techniques, sanitation procedures, and answer other important questions for the community. So basically, they're going to be raising a bunch of money to help everyone. Everyone is affected potentially by nidovirus. So they're still going to be donating to USARK for T-shirts, and the money raised there, but all the other stuff is going to be going towards nidovirus. And that's the Southeast Carpet Fest. There are, I think, 6 other chapters, including one overseas in the UK. So, look us up on the various Facebook groups, but you can get in touch with Ian Bissell of S&J Reptiles to figure that out, or just look up Southeast Carpet Fest. There's Facebook groups. So, that event is coming up in Florida in February at Terrestrial and Arboreal facility. That's Cody and Pia Bartolini. They're hosting it out there, so it's a good time. And just because it's called Carpet Fest doesn't mean that you have to have carpet pythons and or have anything to do with carpet pythons. It's a conglomeration of all reptile people that just get together, and it started with a group of carpet python enthusiasts. So that's just where it came from. There's chapters everywhere, and in fact, there's Southwest. There's a lot of different stuff going on. Oh my god. So there's Northwest. There's Northeast. There's Southwest. Well, there's like 5 or 6 chapters. So get in touch with people. It's a good time. It's definitely worth going. You know, the value in going to like a show and meeting people and networking. It's the same sort of deal. It's just this isn't buying and selling of animals. It's just hanging out. So now what I'm gonna do here is get back to paying attention and mute myself so I can see y'all's chat. Okay, cool. So that was my announcement for Carpet Fest. Again, check that out and let me know if you have any questions. Also, next weekend is Pomona. So if any of y'all are out in the West Coast near LA area or feel like traveling, Pomona happens twice a year and it's California's biggest show or the West Coast biggest show. So that's coming up this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, Friday setup at the Pomona Fairplex. So if you're going to be there, say what's up. I'll be hanging out with Brian Cusco at his booth, just kind of helping man his cameras and provide comedic relief when he forgets to turn his microphone on and such. I won't be bringing anything for sale, though. I'll just be hanging out. But we'll be there. So if you guys are there, come say what's up. Okay. And then I got a new camera. So hopefully I don't have to just resort to filming on my phone. The live stream on the phone is great, but this is even better because obviously better quality. You guys can see exactly what you're looking at right now. But this just makes filming a lot easier and frees up my phone for everything else. So I'm going to give that a shot with the Morelia Mondays segment and see if I can't just make a full shift over to that equipment and deliver a better product. Yeah, it's a Sony HX. It's the HX80, I believe. Yeah, it's the HX80. Am I getting any of the farm IJs Dan brought? Yeah. So I wasn't going to say anything publicly, but since you brought it up, I've already been in touch with Dan and a few other people. And because I'm going to be getting in there with vendors, my plan is Friday morning to kind of scope out when Dan's setting up and go talk to him. And ideally, I'll be picking up like a group of those babies, a few pairs from him, and then maybe an adult or a scrubby for a certain somebody. Basically, I'm gonna act like a little bit of a middleman and be a round two of Christmas for some folks. I'm gonna go pick up some farm bred Popwins babies for a couple people and things, and then once the weather is better, I'll send them off. So I'll get to enjoy them in the meantime. But yeah, I'll probably grab a few from Dan. I hit him up like a month or so ago asking if he was going to have any for the show, and he said possibly. So I've already been keeping an eye on him. What's my process for the farm bred IJs as far as like quarantine? I quarantine them just like anything else. The nice thing about the farms is they do a really good job of caring for their animals, at least the ones that Dan chose and selects from. So I have farm bred animals from Dan suppliers that were flawless from day one. They're actually breeding for me right now. And so I'll still quarantine them like I do everything else, and they'll still get a little bit of like an internal treatment, and then obviously the mandatory external just observations, and they'll be in quarantine for a short while. But I got plenty of open racks and things to set up for them. So yeah, well, the good thing is Dan is an individual who understands he lives and dies by his reputation, and he's very much a fan of quality and uniqueness. And he's been in it for a long time because he takes care of his suppliers and his customers, and bringing in junk, dirty animals, or giving you something that's not, what you think it is not something that's going to fare well for him. So Dan's always a very stand up, forward guy, and he's all about quality even when it comes from the farm. There's a bit of a stigma in the community about imports and farm farmed animals, and really that stigma should just shift to just a different attention to detail for a different type of animal, if you ask me. Just because there's different circumstances about them coming into the country, what they've been exposed to, this and that. But anybody who pays attention to those details, just knows how to disinfect properly, no cross contamination. Anybody can be successful with a good imported animal, especially if you know you're getting it from a good supplier and a good reputable person. Dan does all of that stuff for you. So, yeah, Dan is about as genuine as it gets. It's really hard to compete. He set the bar so high with integrity and everything. He's just a good dude. No, would I Nido test imports? No, there. As far as I understand, Nido has only come in, or has only been found in captive populations. I don't think it's been ever traced to wild animals. So I don't think it's a product of importation or anything. I think it's a captivity born virus, but I'm not an expert. Yeah, no, I mean, Nido is like one of those big question marks right now. So nobody has all the answers for that. I think if everybody exhibited like just a good level of understanding that people make mistakes, and these are animals we're working with, and there's a lot of variables that are out of our control, and we just do our due diligence and have some precautions, I think we can all do pretty well. Yeah, those Sanzini I think were captive bred by a friend of his though, so those weren't imports. I could be wrong though. I remember posting a video about those. Um, yeah, if anybody is ever considering going with farm bred animals or anything like that, Dan Malaria of DM Exotics, he will be moving to Thailand full time, but he'll still be coming out for Pomona and San Diego and Sacramento shows. So he'll still be involved. But I highly recommend it. Highly. I've got a couple animals from him. I even have an Amazon tree boa from him that's been flawless. So, so far, Nido's been showing up a lot in green trees, carpet pythons, and then I think it was originally found in ball pythons and maybe even corn snakes. I could be wrong about the corn snakes part, but um, I could be thinking of the IBD origins. Anyway, yeah, it's. I think it's a python and boa sort of centric virus at the moment. The problem is not a lot is known about its origins and how it's passed on or how to get rid of it. So far, when people are testing it, they basically isolate those animals for the remainder of their lives. IBD is in boas and pythons for sure. Oh, I gotta top this off. Good morning, Bash slash 4x4. What up? Oh, shoot. So, who saw the Morelia Mondays segment? What'd you guys think of that? That's a new one. Eee. Quality. Thanks, man. Yeah, what I realized I should have done is for the one that I started with, I just made it a general Papuan one, and what it did was it made it so like I only used one animal, but I've got a few others, so I'll have to like figure out a way to make like versions of Papuan ones. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So the whole point of this channel was to put more face value and face time for these animals out there. And the name Morelia Mondays has been mulling around in my head for like years, and every so often I'll use it as just a hashtag for no reason. Um, but I've never really known what to do with it until I started doing this YouTube stuff. So I think ideally I'd like to showcase just different animals and try and talk about them as in like relation to, yeah, morphs, lines, um, subspecies, anything like that that's relevant. I don't have everything, of course, so I won't be able to. Like, currently, I couldn't talk about diamonds because I don't have any diamonds. I couldn't talk about inlands for the same reason as well. What I could talk about is that snake, so on and so forth. So, I think ideally what I'd like to do is get in a routine of doing once a week, and then and hopefully that'll carry us into baby season. And then I imagine I'll probably um, switch into showing off some of the babies that I'm hopefully getting this year. So um, we'll see. Ideally, I'll be able to maintain consistency and do it every week. Who knows? Right now, it shouldn't be a challenge. Works kind of slow. But what do you guys want to see for the next one? Because I mean, I have three more pop ones I could go with and just go boom, boom, boom. But I don't think that would be the way to go. I think y'all would like more variety, and we can come back to different pop ones later on. I was thinking, yeah, so I was thinking the Brettles, but they've both been in such like a brumation state right now. Their colors changed a lot. They are dark, 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 dark. Very dark right now. So they don't look very great. I'm kind of bummed. Yeah, it was this guy. He actually sat really still. I essentially scooped him out and put him up, and I was getting ready to like cover him with a bowl to like let him sit and still and just chill for a while. I didn't need to. I was like, well, he's not moving. I'll just do it now. So it worked. A rundown on jungles. What specifics? What do you have in mind? I could absolutely try and talk about them. I have a few. Um, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I could definitely pick brains of some people who are quite plugged into the jungle world very easily and find out more. Um, like I haven't been around jungles since like the early inception of a lot of those lines, like the Cipperly and Lazic line, like the earlier years. Like I know about them and some of those different things, and like Larry Black, and but I wouldn't say I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like um, an expert on them, but I could certainly try because I know there's localities, there's morphs, and then there's certain things associated with them, like the phenotypic color changes with certain localities or lines. There's a lot of lines, a lot of different lines. Um, yeah, we could definitely go into it. Just if you have Ryan, fire away any specifics. Last week's session on digestion was really cool. That one was fun. I got really into that one. I could really sink my teeth into another topic like that. So keep them coming. Oh, I'm going to Pomona. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm actually leaving Thursday probably, and I'm gonna run down to Brian Cusco's house, and then we're gonna finish the rest of the leg down, and I'm just gonna help him out at his booth this weekend. So I'll definitely be there. I just won't be selling anything. Um, I'll have T-shirts, but I don't know if I'm gonna put them on the table just because it's his booth. I'll probably just have them in my car or the hotel and can like bring stuff to people. So no, 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 it's next weekend. Yeah, it's next weekend. Um, oh, that reminds me. Because it's next weekend and it will fall on a Sunday, um, I'm gonna try, and there's an asterisk here. I'm gonna try to run a normal uh, a normal segment like this on Sunday from the hotel room with Brian. I'm gonna bring all my coffee stuff like an ass and be a total coffee snob and bring them in the hotel room. But he said the hotel's got Wi-Fi. They usually do. So I'm gonna try and next week hopefully be able to run a Pomona-based carpets and coffee, which means it'll probably be shorter and probably very off topic, but it could be fun. Uh, Bloodlines. I don't know how to explain it, but I've been thinking about getting a Headhunter line pair, but I don't know much about who has. Okay, yeah. Headhunter has a lot of good stuff. Headhunter is definitely known for selective breeding for quality. What's up, Mad Bio Reptiles? How's it going? Yeah, Brian's a close friend of mine. I've known Brian for a few years. He and I are good buddies. But it's his booth and his gig and his camera rule, and I wouldn't do that to him even if he said I could. What was it? Okay, so Ryan, if you are interested in Headhunter, you want to reach out to Chris Rendell's and shoot, what's his partner's name? It's another Chris and Chris, I think. Anyway, they're on Facebook and you can find them. If you're looking for specific lines, I would suggest, like, unless there's a name of a sire in the past or anything like that that you're looking for specific animals from, they post a lot of their pairings. And if you go into on the Facebook, there's a U.S. jungle carpet python page. It's all jungles. There's a lot of mention of their animals because obviously quality and prevalent. If you're looking into getting them, obviously getting them direct would be the best. They've got a lot of stuff going this year: zebras, high black stuff with lots of tipping, maybe some striped stuff. But they do a lot of selective breeding, so I would suggest looking at some of the animals that they post as like pairings that they're expecting from this year and see if you like their phenotype. And then what you can do is you can start acquiring a couple animals and you'll start familiarizing yourself with those names, especially as you kind of browse around the old forums on like MoreliaPythons.com, which isn't very active, or the Jungle Group. You'll just browsing through, you'll see some stuff. Yeah, Headhunter has a lot of stuff. So they do have pure stuff like with traceable original founding stuff, a lot of different lines. But then they also have some of the stuff where the community um, understands that there's some question marks in the traceability, but they're not labeled as pure, so they're accepted as like semi undocumented. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, those things are great. So like those would be like highlighters considered high value, but not necessarily pure. So things like that. So it just depends on which way you want to go. Carly, will Brian make an appearance? If we can get this up and running on Sunday in the hotel and everything goes off without hitch, yeah, Brian and I will be coffee snobbing it up. So, and you know what? By then, if I've picked up animals for people, we'll probably show a couple off, but maybe. Just depends. Yeah. Diamond jungles get really bright and tipped, and those things cool. I love my Amazon tree boas. They're like truly arboreal carpet pythons that are nowhere near as skilled at good striking and biting, but they'll certainly try. They have a different build, thinner skin, nowhere near as bulky, so they're a little more delicate when you hold them, but I love them, man. They give you all the behaviors that you want to see out of like an arboreal. So, but they do ground themselves. So if you do get some, don't freak out when you see that because they do that a lot. They're pretty active. Um, let's see. Yeah, Brandon Wheeler grabbed two of the nicest tigers I've seen in a while from Nick Mutton. So he's on the Amazon tree boa board or tree boa train too. So I know he was asking me about those, and he got some tigers, which is one of the, if not the only, no, it's one of a couple true morphs in Amazons. Yeah, no, they're terrible at striking. It's like if I had to equate it to like a strategy, what they do is they find a point, they lock onto it, and then they just kind of go for it. And they don't always hit it. Well, see, corrals are like the boa equivalent of carpet, so there's like a lot of similarities. So it makes sense. There's overlap. Um, I would like to eventually, because I've added enough animals right now, that the next Amazon tree boa projects I would pick up would be something tiger, um, either something proven Lucy or hypo, or some red or calico stuff. Because I've got yellows and spades now. I've got 5 animals that are either a base yellow or a base yellowish orange. Yeah, saving incubator space. That's the nice thing about boas. I mean, it's a longer wait, but you don't need a cooker. I actually have a nice big incubator that I built out of a 6 foot Sobe glass front um, fridge thing. It could hold maybe like a dozen or so clutches depending on the egg bins used. And I've never come close to filling it up. I think the most I've ever had in there one year was like 3 clutches, so it's just kind of been excessive. But this year I might actually come close to filling it, so I'm glad I still sucked it up and have it. But yeah, I have an adult pair of Amazons that I've been pairing, and they were really friendly a couple months ago. The males in shed, so but I don't understand those animals anywhere near as well as these guys. So like, because they're so slender, is it going to be more obvious when the female's going through a cycle or as they're getting set up or what? I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And boas, they eat through their gravid cycle. Like my rainbow female, she never doesn't eat. So there's a lot of things that we would normally look at in pythons for cues, and they just don't necessarily translate. Yeah, so Abby Malvestuto, I believe it was, she has those amazing Amazons. Unbelievable. Yeah, and those are some big, healthy ones too. So that video was great. I enjoyed that as well. Um, the hypo stuff is still really like, I mean, there's people who have proven lines of it and they understand theirs, but I think because there's multiple, we're not really sure what's going on. I mean, I definitely don't know, but I've got a couple. I've got a pair of animals that are like so patternless yellow, they're translucent, and I can see through them. Like I can see their lungs, I can see their veins running through. I can see the heart beating. I can see if there's feces down in the end. Like I can see through these two animals with the light, and I'm not going to call them hypos because they're just like a yellow and white animal with no markings, but that's sort of phenotypically what they are. Genotypically, I haven't proved that out. But wouldn't that be sweet if it's just like something that can be found in the wild? Because that male is a wild import. Yeah, she's really nice. She's reached out to me too. We've talked over comments and stuff just on some of her posts. She seems very, very friendly, which is awesome. Yeah, I did listen to that episode on Corrales Radio. Yeah, I was pretty intrigued by that one. That was cool. I'm stoked that there's somebody like pursuing those lines because when I was first looking into tree boas, I was under the impression that it's just kind of random and people are still unsure. But it seems like there's definitely some people developing a grasp of a mode of inheritance with some of these outcomes because you can get garden phase, orange, like bicolors and brindles all in one litter from like a pair of gardens or something. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know, but I digress. So back to Morelia. Children's pythons are good. In fact, I'm pretty sure the female's done with the male. She's definitely gravid. She looks like she ate another children's python. She spends 100% of her time smushed under her hide in a huge pretzel. So we're getting eggs from children's pythons. Whether they're good, whether the babies hatch, remains to be seen. But first step is getting eggs, and I think we'll see that. So that'll be fun because this is my first time breeding that species. I think my season started earlier this year than most because we just got cold weather super early. So from a lot of the pairings that I was seeing a lot of good activity and a lot of attention between them, I'm already seeing them sort of like lose interest in one another. Well, Dan, if I can hatch good animals and get them feeding for you, I'd be happy to help you out with a baby. In the meantime, there's a lot of other people like who else is hatching them? I think Inland Reptile. So Nick Mutton might do some Antaresia. Australian Addiction. That's Justin Julander. He does some Antaresia. Andy Grossman does a lot of Antaresia. Um, uh, yeah, the boys at Herpeticulture podcast have a couple ants. I'm gonna put this guy back. He's been a stud. He did awesome for Showtime last week. Still got to figure out what I'm gonna do the filming for Morelia Mondays and get that all figured out. Hopefully, after this today. So I got to figure out who's going. Oh, time out. Hey. Anywho, yeah, I mean, there's Brettles, there's zebras I want to leave alone, tigers, jungles, yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's kind of getting to the end of like the winter breeders like time period right now. Um, Eli Roth. Oh my. Oh, that's the last of it. Dang. Oh well, that's probably all I need. Oh yeah, Ryan is parting with a pair, or are they his spotteds? Anyway, I think Ryan does. Ryan has good stuff. Ryan's a good friend of mine. I actually have one, two, three. I have four animals from him. So, um, fellow zookeeper, good dude. Works with some cool, unique species. Okay, I got a question for everybody here. It's this is the last episode of Carpets and Coffee for the year. Next time I see you will be in 2019. Who already knows what they're planning on adding to their collection in 2019? And is it Morelia wise? Like, is it who's planning on adding carpets for the first time this coming year? Or who's planning on adding more after getting bit by the Morelia bug? I wanna know who's buying carpets in 2019, and what do you want? What are you guys hoping for this year? Because I know I have some stuff on my list, but it's like one or two way out of the price range for me. So, what are you looking for, Jeff? What are you excited about? What do you want to see? Okay, okay, I respect that. Ooh, nice. There you go, Steven. Get some good quality ones. Boyga, Bairds, and Chondros. Gee, shocker. Dan, you'll be stoked on those animals once they come in. Those will be really awesome. Milk snakes and bulls. Bull snakes are fun. Bull snakes are really cool. Carly, if you're ever looking for more bull snakes down the line, let me know and I'll put you in touch with Travis Johnson of Living Legless Reptiles. If you don't know him already, dude's got like the rainbow of bulls and they're amazing. Um, he should have a ton breeding this year, actually. More Brazilian rainbow boas. Yeah, yeah. I think there's a. I, you can never have too many of those, right? I need more space, honestly, for more of those. Yep. Something different for educational purposes. They are different. They're active. They're very captivating, when you've got an audience because they move. Yeah, the Reds. What are they? The Kingsville Reds. Those things are bad. Those are really nice. Good condom. Oh, speaking of books, check this out. My girlfriend's parents got me this. It's another Raymond Ditmars book, and it's a reprint of some of his work from the late 1800s and early 1900s, and it's been preserved for historical purposes. And there's like a lot of like photocopied old prints and drawings. Like, look at that, rhino iguanas right there. Like some crazy historical stuff in this, and it's a reprint. And at first I thought it was a reprint of this other book I have, but it might be a little bit different unless they change the name to be more accurate. But this thing is awesome. And I have one of his like 100-year-old books. This is an original Raymond Ditmars. This thing is older than like 3 generations of my family, and it smells like it. And it's really delicate. So for me, I think this year I'm adding more books than snakes, hopefully, because that'll be easier on my wallet. Dude, this book, it's from the undergraduate library in Upstreet, Washington, D.C., the Dunbarton College Library, from like almost 100 years ago. And I got it for less than $5 on Amazon. So, I think I'm starting to collect books. I don't know what it is. Like, I was just reading some of the dialogue and the intro of this from Raymond Ditmars, and just the way he looks at things is very different. So this one is Reptiles of the World. It's a really old one. I just looked on Amazon. And then this one is Reptiles of the World, Tortoises and Turtles, Crocodilians, Lizards, and Snakes of the Eastern and Western Hemispheres. So, these are some cool ones. What's another? I also got this really old one, too. That is pretty sweet. This is another Ditmars. I mean, this thing is like... I'm scared to open this thing because, like, the dust cover is just, like, so frail and old. I mean, this thing is, like... I haven't opened it yet, but this is another, like, antique book. And I'm glad it still has this cover, even though it's, like, really torn, because it's got such an old, like, clipped, like, version of a cobra on it. Anyway, this thing is another book that I got online for, like, $2 or $3. Oh, my... There's a school bulletin, a National Geographic school bulletin from 1967 in here. This thing is 51 years old. This right here is 51 years old. Let's see when this book was. It's copyrighted in 1931. Dang, that's a sweet shot. 1954. So this book is about 64 years old. And this is probably even a reprint. It's got the original owner's name in it. This book sold for $4.95 when it was printed. I bought it for less now, but man. So, go troll around on Amazon. You'll find some sweet old books. And while I'm telling you to go buy books, it's dawned on me recently, and I've rectified it myself, but everybody who breeds boas and pythons needs to have a copy of this. You just have to. It's still pretty relevant, even though it's a little older. But yeah, for the longest time, apparently this was regarded as like the book for anybody keeping and breeding snakes. So, if you can find it, get it. Along with many others. Mark O'Shea has a new book out. I need to get that. That looks pretty good. But yeah, buying books is way easier than buying snakes, although maybe not as exciting. Well, there goes the coffee. Alright, well, we've been at it for about 40 minutes. Oh God. So next week, I'm gonna try and do this from the hotel room in Pomona. Um, no guarantees. I'll let you know. If it doesn't work, then I'll see you the following week. If it does work, then I'll see you next week from Pomona. And who knows what'll happen. Um, yeah, again, I'm going to remind everybody to go look up Southeast Carpet Fest. If you want to go check out the event or participate in the auction, that event's coming up in 2 months, maybe even less. Actually, yeah, less because it's pretty much January. So hit up Ian Bissell or find them on their Facebook page. They've got a group for that, Southeast Carpet Fest. Yeah. Otherwise, let me know if anybody's gonna make it to Pomona, and I'll see y'all there. Swing by the Triple B TV booth. Brian will be doing his interviews and stuff again, like in August. So I'll just be hanging out. If anybody wants me to bring shirts, I have all the sizes except smalls left now. I'm out of smalls. Not a bunch, but I can bring some. Am I gonna make it to the Carpet Fest this year? Ooh, that will depend on how my work life goes, as far as like if I get more vacation hour accrual or a different job or who knows what. So we'll see. It'd be sweet to make it to the OG one, but right now I think my if I'm gonna save money towards a plane flight, it's gonna be towards Australia next year. So we'll see. That's kind of a stretch, but that's another reason why I got a nice smaller point and shoot camera. So if I do make it to Australia, I can film without lugging a bunch of gear. So we'll see. Australia is the dream, right? Anyway, thank you everyone for joining and tuning in. I appreciate it. It's fun doing this for you guys. You guys seem to really enjoy it, and I love getting the feedback that you guys enjoy it. If anybody ever has questions or requests, want to see animals or topics or questions, anything like that, let me know. Always happy to feed the need. Love your carpets. See y'all later.